Welcome back to Salty Saints. My name is Hayden Holm, and today I am joined by a phenomenal panel of guests. We've got with us none other than Roy Anderson at the Iron Rodcast. Be sure to check him out on YouTube and Instagram and subscribe. We've also got with us Aranza Condi, and she is on Instagram, as well as she makes appearances on YouTube every now and then, if I understand
Yes, on
correctly.
Quick Media with Greg Mattson.
On Quick Media. So you can play your pickleball and get a little bit of Aranza every day, which is fantastic. That was a boomer joke. Sorry about that. I channeled Cardinellis for a little bit there. But today, I have gathered these guests together because I was scrolling the other day and I came across something on my feed that was more startling than gas prices. My eyebrows went all the way through the roof. It was crazy to see. But before we get there, let's talk about dads real quick. If you're a dad and you're busy, you got kids, life gets hard, you don't likely have a whole lot of friends. That's why we created dadsneedfriends.com, where you can go connect with other men that's completely free. We play games a couple times a week. Word on the street is we're going to get an actual licensed therapist in there. Not one of those certified trauma coaches, but an actual therapist in there who will actually give potentially group therapy sessions. So we're gearing up for some other cool stuff. We've got fitness challenges, we've got check-ins, we've got campfire chats, and all that and more at dadsneedfriends.com. That's dadsneedfriends.com. So be sure to check that out. And in the meantime, let's talk regret culture. Toxic regret culture. This is something that has been growing in popularity, especially on the grams, for probably the past 5 years. And what do we mean by regret culture? Well, let me show you what I mean. I'm going to pull up this video, and we are going to talk about toxic regret culture, how it's manifesting, and some of the problems that it may be bringing with it. Okay, so let me share my screen real quick and we'll get this party started. Let me know if you can hear the audio once that pulls. The grams. Okay, let me know if you can see that.
Yeah, I see it.
Yep, you're good.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. And can you hear that? You heard that?
Yeah.
Good. I was kind of double checking. You never know. All right, so here we go. So this is from a gal. Her name is, her account is L.E. Duke. And this was posted about 2 weeks ago. Got herself a guitar, and she decided to create herself a little song that she put out for the entire internet to enjoy. The caption reads, "I got married super young in a religion before I even knew myself, and I'm grieving a life I never thought I would have." All right, so let's talk grief. Let's talk freedom. Let's talk all of this after the song.
Oh. Never had a threesome. Never spent the night in jail. Never had the kind of freedom to raise a little hell. Not saying that I want to, but there's some things I never did, like doing coke in the bathroom. There's some people I just met, and I'm not saying I regret it. We were both so young, 22 and 27. I think you're still the one. But what if I wake up and change my mind? Didn't want babies or the simple life. Would it be too much if I decide to start kissing girls and quit walking straight lines? What if I'm not the girl you always thought you knew? If I said it all out loud, what would you do? What if I?
Okay, Roy, big reaction out of you. First reactions, what's going on?
Well, when I first saw this video, it was before you sent it to me, and I was like, holy cow, that's like there's so many clips you can make out of this.
Right.
That like I couldn't believe. I was like, I could probably run a full YouTube channel that would last like maybe 2 months just reacting to this video every single day. But I'm reading the top comment here, which I really think is interesting. It says, white people be like, I have religious trauma because I never got to do drugs or go to prison. Now, I do think it's really interesting. This is not an anti-Mormon comment. It's not like ex-Mormons are crazy. It's literally like these Caucasians think they're so oppressed because they couldn't do like illegal and it's weird how it does dive a little bit into like racism. Like you're like my life is so good.
It's like
I don't know.
ultimate first world problems, right?
Yes, like
yeah.
not like racism like against other races in America. I'm
No,
talking about like
but
around the
privilege,
world.
like, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Like she thinks that this is like the best thing that could happen to her is that she should be able to do like have like a threesome and do coke in a bathroom. She tries to put a caveat. Yeah, she tries to put a caveat in there. She tries to be like, I'm not saying I want to, but then continue. What is she saying then? Like, what is she trying to? I don't understand the point of her song. She's like, well, I didn't get to do these things. I don't want to do these things, but also I didn't get to. These are the things that I want to do. I don't know what she's trying to say. It makes no sense to me.
How dare you, Roy? You spewing your misogyny all over this post. Look at that. Hey, so here's the deal. Yeah. First things first, I want to just say she's got a great voice. She's got talent.
Yeah.
Like, that was catchy. The tune itself was catchy. She can really sing. But if you pay attention to the words, boy, that's where we get in trouble a little bit. And so I'm hoping to pull out the ideas here that she's promoting through this song. So the whole song is like, hey, I never had freedom, to spend a night in jail, da-da-da. It's like...
That doesn't make any sense.
Wait, what?
I'm taking notes. Her opening line was, I never had a threesome. And it's like, oh, okay, well, what do you mean? Okay. And listen, as someone who has done coke off the back of a bathroom toilet in her early 20s, and lived that stupid, dumb life, I can tell you that, like, one of the things that, like, really converted me to the gospel of Jesus Christ was recognizing the difference between happiness and, like fleeting happiness and true joy. All of these little flings and, you know, popping pills in the club and, like, all of these, like, they're selfish, like self-fulfillment things. They bring you happiness in that moment, but let me tell you, the next day after doing a line, all you do is hate yourself. You hate yourself. You don't want to live. You never want to go out again. Like, you hurt yourself. Like, I'm just it's crazy to me that people can like of all the reasons to regret motherhood or to wish you had a different life, this is the most absurd to me. And this I can't get behind. I can't get behind.
I don't wait. Aranza, were you a member of the church in your early 20s, or were you?
No, I got baptized
you're a
when I was
convert.
30. Yeah. So
Okay,
I'm telling you, I was like, I you know, as an elder millennial in my early 20s, the whole thing narrative you were being fed was like, own your sexuality, own your womanhood, own your independence. You know, you don't need no man. And like living that life hurt me. It hurt me. And so it breaks my heart when I see beautiful, talented women like this lamenting just stupid stuff. And I just pray her kids never hear that song.
Oh, wow.
Well, I have something else,
I
Hayden.
finished listening to that, and I tell you what, women's empowerment hits different these days, doesn't it? Like, I listen to that thing, and I'm like, man, you go get them, right? Like, whoa.
Yeah, the messaging used to be a little more
pull back
subliminal.
a little bit on those. Yeah, it used to be just like very subtle back in the day. You know, like, hey, you know, maybe my parents won't let me go out. My parents give me a curfew, blah, 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 you know.
Yeah.
And like a lot of the punk rock songs, check, yes, Juliet. And so it was like back and forth and stuff like that. This one's like, man, I wish I could really do hard drugs and illegal substances in gas station bathrooms. What are we talking about? Holy smokes.
Yeah,
I tell you
at
what,
least do them somewhere where it's clean, bro. At least do somewhere where it's clean. What are we talking about?
I tell you, if we're gonna go I don't want to make assumptions here, but maybe if you're lamenting that you didn't put illegal substances in your body at a gas station, maybe you had some really great gas stations near your house. Maybe you lived next to a Buc-ee's or something like that, because I could totally see that. But I look at the average McDonald's or Chevron gas station. I'm like, really? Or Waffle House? Holy smokes. And before we get any farther, I want to read some of these comments because they absolutely sum up what's going on here. So we have right here, this is from Jackson Shepherd. Can we stop socializing this stuff? So he says, only people in the first world complain about not having threesomes and doing coke in the bathroom. Stability and safety are literally what the rest of the world fight for every day. And we write songs about how much we hate it. Social media is poisoning us. I thought, oh man, right in the feels. Very good diagnosis there. He says, darn, this is from Jay Danko. Darn, I had a life full of morals and direction. What a joke. This one came from Taylor Frankie Paul, none other than TFP.
Yeah.
Hide your chairs, everybody, and hide your kids, and hide your husband, because we got TFP in the chat, and she said, I hear you, I went for it. And boy, did she go hard for it. I think there are some bruises out there that can attest that TFP actually went for it. All right, repent and turn to Christ. This was from Relearn HQ. King Mosiah, he's one of the
Love
real
him.
ones. He
He's
said,
the best.
ew, which kind of sums everything up. Just ew. And is he saying ew at her or at the ideology that she's promoting? Knowing Mosiah and knowing what he stands for, I'm saying he's probably targeting the ideology that she's promoting here.
Totally.
100% ideology. This is another thing. This is where I feel gaslit online every single day. Because ex-Mormons will be like, nobody leaves the church because they want to do drugs. They leave the church because they have a problem with the history. It has nothing to do with drugs. No one leaves church because they want to have sex, okay? They leave the church because of the history. And then this lady comes on and's like, I just wanted to have a threesome. That's what I wanted. I don't understand. It's so which one is it? Which one are we talking about? Because I hear people that will be literally angry at me. They'll be like, you're small-minded moron that thinks that people will leave the church just because they want to do drugs and do those things. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe that's right. Maybe I should look deeper into this. Then this lady pops up and she's like, I just drug.
Uh-oh. Roy's stroking out over there. There we go, yeah. And then we have, down here, we've got Ashley B. Therapy. This is a licensed therapist on Instagram, also rabid anti-Mormon. She says, people are activated because you are saying things out loud they don't have the capacity to connect with. Which is honestly sad. Your depth is beautiful. I love you, my friend. It's like, wow. I would call that toxic empathy. If you're empathizing with someone who wants to go harm themselves and be a burden on society, as a licensed mental health therapist, hold on, wait, let's pull this back a little bit.
What are the rules for therapists? We're gonna tell people to do drugs and have threesomes?
That's a yellow card right there. Yellow card. Hold on. What are you doing out here? It's like, I'm married. She said that in the song. She got married young, and she's got a stable life, and she's like, I wish I had the same freedom as White Power Bill in the cell next to me. Because that guy, he's living his best life. And she's out there saying, oh, this is deep. People can't connect with this. I wish you well. That's fantastic. And I hope that you can pursue those dreams. You go, girl. It's like, maybe we check them a little bit with reality and say, maybe we stop promoting this kind of a lifestyle. So as you can see, go ahead.
What really infuriates me as a mom who has lived through, the harder things like postpartum depression, financial insecurity, there are legitimate reasons to struggle as a mother and as a marriage and as a family, and to put this on a pedestal and to make it seem like a valid and okay reason to, I don't know. It's very selfish, and it feeds into the me mentality that, we've lost the plot.
Absolutely. A couple more comments here. This one's from Stacy Harkey. You might recognize him from Studio C. Yeah.
Big fan of Stacy. Love Stacy.
He says, it's so important to be able to exercise one's agency to experience and life and choose the path that one wants to pursue. Heart and tear eyes.
You know what? To an extent, I think Stacy has a little bit of a point there. But
lay it on me, Roy.
I think he has a point. So I was thinking about whether or not to bring this up. But being a member of the church does not exclude you from the opportunity to do crack in a bathroom.
No.
You can still do that and make that decision. And like, we would obviously be like, you should probably repent. Like, that's not good. But being a member of the church does not exclude you from having a threesome, right? We have standards that say we probably shouldn't do that. But if we're sitting here acting like people in the church don't experiment, this is another thing with the gaslighting thing, where people are like, people in the church are so contained and they never get to do anything. And then in the same sentence, they'll be like, everybody in the church is watching porn and sleeping around. Like they're hiding it. Like that's what people.
So you're saying we can't hold those two things at the same time?
No. And what people outside of the church need to realize is there are people in the church that do experiment and learn and try their best and fail and pick up and go. You don't have to leave the church to make mistakes. And I'm not saying like, if you're a member of the church and you want to do crack, go do it. But I am saying, if you're a member of the church and you have these temptations where you're slipping and falling, that doesn't mean, hey, you have to get out now in order to like go through this thing that you're going through. And another thing, if you hit your 30s and you've never done crack cocaine, most people would say, including doctors, that that's a good thing. Yeah. So you shouldn't look.
They might even call you an upstanding citizen. They might even say, "Hey, that's great." They might even give you a couple of these, like a couple thumbs up for you. Hey.
If you look back at your 20s and you go, you know what, I had some opportunities that seemed like maybe they could have been fun, but I chose not to do it because I believe I had these certain morals that I chose not to do it. Okay, then just stop there. Like you don't need to leave the church and go do them. You can just be like, yeah, you know what, I didn't do them. And I didn't do them. And that's a good thing. Everyone else thinks that's a good thing. That's pretty normal.
Right. Well, the ironic part about it all is like a lot of those behaviors will actually, so like let's consider the path of her feet for a second, to quote the Bible here. Like if she were to actually act on those, or if let's say there's a girl out there, like a young girl, a teenager, who's never been married, who doesn't have kids or anything like that, who may believe that the grass is greener on the gas station floor, she might look at that and say like, hey, maybe I do try that out, but if you keep that going down that path, it actually leads to a place of restricted freedom, like across most of the things she was saying. It's like you could very well get addicted to drugs, you could develop that addiction, and that addiction could run your life. You could definitely break the law, spend a couple nights in jail. That's definitely going to restrict your freedoms. Then your freedom, it comes down to basically what size jumpsuit you're going to wear. It's like that's your choice for the day. So those are the comments. That's the video. Let me pull up. So the funniest part about this is there was a response video made to this because she put that out there, and I think she was expecting everyone to shed tears and say like, "Oh man, that was so beautiful.
Bad for you.
Beauty have I heard but once." And so apparently she was expecting for like a standing ovation is what she was expecting, and she was shocked that she got people in the comments saying, "Hey, maybe we don't promote this on social media. Like, hey, great job, but maybe on the next one we tame it a little bit." So let me pull up the video here. This is her response after some influencers jumped all over her video.
Oh, I didn't know she made a response video to her own video. That's interesting. I'm excited.
Oh, she did.
That's funny. I didn't know. That's funny.
Yeah. So this is her response. There it is. Okay, so she's pulling up all of the comments here. So this is from Bailey Believe. She says, "Oh no, guys, the church made her not have a threesome." And there are a couple
Bailey.
other out here. And so this is her response. We're not going to play the whole thing because it does get into territory that nobody should listen to. But we're going to get
the sad off the shoulder shirt.
Right.
Yeah, shirt. Yeah.
She's striking her Julia Robert pose.
She did her makeup. She did her makeup to look
Yeah.
natural.
I shouldn't talk.
That's right.
Oh.
I posted a song yesterday that was talking about the process that sometimes you go through later in life if you got married super young. There's kind of this level of grief about things you didn't experience. And I wrote a song that was kind of stream of conscious, like all these thoughts that I've had and maybe some other people have had. And it's nothing that I'm like, oh, I want to do this. I literally say in the song, I'm not saying that I want to.
Wait a second. Now, hold on.
Where did she say that? Where did she
did
say
say
that?
She said at
She
the
does
very,
say
very
that-
beginning.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Roy.
Oh, she just says, "I'm not saying that I want to. Just saying it crossed my mind," or something like that. Like
Good
I don't.
job. Wow.
Yeah, slay it. You're cooking over there, Roy. Yeah, no, totally. So she's saying like, "Hey, I'm not saying that I want to," and then
But
she
it kind of
does something.
sounds like you are though, because you're like the whole song is a lamentation. It's like I could have, should have, like what if, right? I don't know.
Right,
it sounds like you
right.
want to.
It very much does, because if you didn't want to, you probably wouldn't have said it. Am I crazy on that? Like, hey, maybe I've got too much farm sense in me, but
If I went up to my wife and I'm saying, "That girl seemed extremely kissable. I'm not saying I wanted to kiss her. I'm just saying that
Hey, what are you pointing fingers at me for? Hey,
yeah,
get those
I would get
eyebrows
slapped
down.
in
What's the matter
face.
with you? Yeah. Yeah. So we'll keep going.
Explicitly, I say that. And the level of anger and judgment and misogyny and
Ooh, that is a Julie Hanks buzzword there. So everyone with your Julie Hanks bingo cards at home, you can mark that one off. She's
misogyny.
misogyny. I didn't get that one, but it's definitely one of the keywords there. So we're starting to
I think
get a feel
any
for
man who criticizes your opinion automatically might be labeled as a misogynist, even though that's not true. I think maybe that's the train of
Oh my
thought.
gosh.
Right. That's just the stream of consciousness there is
Yeah.
misogyny. Yeah. Unless you were a guy that was affirming her opinion, then you are a feminist, or a supporter. Yeah.
Correct.
blatant disrespect in the comment section from people who claim to represent Jesus and Christ. You think if I took that to Jesus, he would say, "You."
All right, we're gonna stop it there because she goes hard on the paint afterwards.
Okay.
But basically says, do you think if I would have taken that to the Savior that he would shame me, that he would throw this back in my face and call me all sorts of vulgar and crass words, which I'm like, I don't know that I saw a whole lot of people actually calling her those names as much as they were saying, these ideas are pretty gross. Like, hey,
Yeah.
I don't think that's a good thing to do, Ellie Duke. Unless it was the therapist who she was like, you go, girl, keep going. Dig, baby, dig. Let's find you a gas station. And so I look at that and I'm like, man, how did we get to this point? Where are we at today where we're writing songs like that original song, it got a ton of likes, it got a ton of comments, ton of engagement. And I'm like, where are we at in society where songs about basically living your quote unquote best life involves like getting pass out drunk, going to a gas station, doing drugs, and being promiscuous all throughout your 20s. It's like winding up addicted in jail with an STD is you living your best life.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head earlier when you called out social media. And I really feel like things like the Call Her Daddy podcast and the whatever podcast that promote these lifestyles and maybe put them on a pedestal,
Right.
they do so much damage, you know? And she's a content creator. So I take, and I'm a content creator. I get that. I'm speaking very hypocritically right now, but like, you want to generate clicks and likes and do it for the gram sometimes, and I really feel like maybe she wasn't necessarily like, this wasn't necessarily like a maybe hopefully it wasn't the true desires of her heart more than it was what can be the greatest, most viral video today, what are the cool buzzwords, you know, how can I create this comment section and cultivate this contentious comment section. I don't know. I don't want to like assume her.
Look at that. So she's rage baiting, is what you're saying. She potentially could be rage baiting.
Or just doing it for the likes, you know, and doing it because the world thinks that that's
okay,
cool,
yeah.
right?
Oh, wait. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
Right. I see what you're saying, and I could totally see that.
I had. Well, oh, sorry. Am I?
Oh, you were going to say something, Roy?
No, you're good.
Did the antis get my Wi-Fi? Am I good? Can you guys hear me? Are we good?
Yeah, you froze
Yeah,
for a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool.
They did. Yeah.
I think so. To play devil's advocate just a little bit, it seems like what she's trying to maybe back out a little bit is she's saying there are a lot of people that wish they could do things that are like considered wrong and they don't ever get to do them. And we should be able to normalize someone being like, dang, I had this want to do something that I never did, and not be shamed for having a want but still not doing it. Maybe that's the point she's trying to get to. Like, you shouldn't be shamed for being like, I wanted to do that thing, but I chose not to. But if that was her point, she did not drive that point home very hard. And the second thing I want to say is all skiers know that if you're skiing and you pay attention to the trees instead of the snow, you're bound to hit the tree. It's going to happen. So if you've gotten to a point where you're like, if you've gotten to a point where you start being like, I'm gonna pay attention to all these things I wish I could have had and wish I wanted to do, whatever, you will hit a tree. You're gonna hit one. You're gonna do one of them. Like, actions don't just happen out of nowhere. And so if there are trees down the hill, it's important to acknowledge that there are trees, but you have to pay attention to the snow and not the snow on the toilet seat in the bathroom. Okay?
Ooh, nice one. Hey,
I love it. Full circle.
What a poet. Yeah. Waxing poetical over there. So there was one piece. There's a great book out there. It's called Verbal Judo. And this book, it kind of talks to you about language and how to use language. It was written by a former police officer, and it was geared towards police officers because a lot of times their language ends up escalating things. And so he said, I can actually teach people how to speak in a way where I can de-escalate a situation and get people to comply without needing to resort to, aggression and anger and violence and all that stuff. So I wrote this great book. It's phenomenal. Totally recommend it. Verbal Judo. And there's a piece in there where he says, like, if you say something and you put a but somewhere close to before or after, it basically negates what you were trying to say. So, for example, if she's saying, like, I love my family, but I'm just saying I want to go do drugs and I want to go, have a fun party in a gas station bathroom at Cheese or whatever, it's like, all right, that just negated the first part of that sentence. So everything before the but, like, I love my family, I'm not saying I want to, it's like, you negated that with the but. So if you throw a but in there, or if you just keep leading, so if you just give like a really short disclaimer where it's like, hey, I'm not saying that I want to, I'm just saying, and then you go on for like 5 minutes on the things that you want to say, that negates the disclaimer because you're spending a lot more time and attention on the other piece. So people that hear that, they don't necessarily register the disclaimer that you throw in there because they're like, well, let's see where you're spending your time and attention. Now, here's another fun thing that I want to do. So let's run a test real quick. Let's see, because she said she got married, She said she still loves the guy, and she did this fun little trick that a lot of feminists do these days, which is mind-boggling. But before we get to that trick, here's the test. Could you imagine if her husband was the one singing that song, and what the reaction would be if he was the one that was singing it? If he was like, "Hey, never had a threesome, never did drugs in the bathroom. I'm not saying I don't love you, sweetheart, but I am just saying that I didn't party at all in my youth." You know, I think a lot of people would be like, "How dare you? What a terrible dirtbag. What a no good, dirty, rotten, pig stealing great great grandfather," to quote Holes. It is like, what a terrible guy. Role model. He'd be labeled as a degenerate. He'd be tossed right out of polite society. Everyone would be like, "Hey, get that guy out of here. Boo this man." Do you think that would be accurate, or am I just blowing smoke over here? Roy, we'll start with you, and then we'll go to Aranza. Oh, it looks like you're muted.
Sorry, what was that? Sorry, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I lost it a little bit.
Do you think if her husband were the one singing the song, do you think he'd be praised or criticized for it?
No, he'd be, yes, he'd be criticized. Especially, like, I don't even know how to begin with. Not just her husband, if anybody else that wasn't coming out of religious trauma. I mean, like, they mask everything with religious trauma. But yes, if a man is saying that song, and he was like, people would be like, "What is wrong with you? Like, being a man's not good enough for you. You have to have a threesome and do crack." It's like, no, it would be
right.
It'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you think, Aranza?
I saw a post a while back. I can't remember the name of the creator, and he was getting dragged, absolutely dragged, because he was like, "I divorced my wife and my kids, and you want to know why that's not wrong?" And just was like, talking about how his life is better now, and he's a member of the church. And I just was kind of like, my homie, I
my
don't,
dude, yeah.
we are normalizing children as being a commodity, as something that, okay, well, how is this going to enhance my life, and how is this going to benefit me, instead of looking at these things, motherhood, family, fatherhood, as a cross to bear, as a necessary rite of passage. We are not building that into our community anymore, and that's why you get these crash outs and these toxic regret videos, because these people, they don't have a purpose. They're floating in space. They don't know who they are. They don't know how good God is, and it's so sad. It's so sad.
Yeah. Hey,
what
Jeff,
up, Jeff
Borders, author of the Antichrist Playbook, just joined the chat. And that is not his name for all you Russians out there. Put your pens down. That is his code name there. But yeah, so Jeff, what are your thoughts as you've been listening to this? Give me your reactions. Oh, man.
Oh,
we must have spooked him.
Yeah, we scared Jeff. the Russian thing got him. He's like, "Russians? What?"
Uh-oh. He's been compromised.
Shut it down.
Get it out. Yeah. We'll let you figure out your audio problems over there. In the meantime, I am going to... So there's another fun trick that the gals like this will play. And they do this in a lot of videos. So there have been a handful of videos that I've seen, not just from this girl, but also from a lot of disciples of Julie Hanks, even Julie Hanks herself, where they say, "I regret having children so young. I wish I didn't have children so young. I was saddled with these children. They were a burden, and I wish I was married too young." And then at the same time, they turn around, they say, "I wouldn't have done it any other way." But they just spent like 30 minutes complaining about how they would have, if they could go back in time, they would not have had their children. So it's this really weird dynamic where children are like becoming viewed as like a burden, almost like a polyp on your arm that you need like some kind of surgery to remove. It's like, oh, gosh, he's struck
Hayden,
with child.
Have you ever? I don't know if you remember in high school, but I remember distinctly hearing a couple conversations when I was younger in high school, like freshman, sophomore year, where kids would be complaining about their parents. And then they would turn to one of their other friends and be like, dude, I wish my parents were divorced like yours because this freaking sucks. And then everybody is like, what the frick are you talking about? That is what these people sound like. They're like right. I remember hearing a kid being like, dang, you get 2 Christmases from your mom and your dad? Have that. And the kid who has divorced parents is like, you're an idiot. What are you talking about? What are you stupid? There was a, do you know what's his name? Pete, his dad died he was a firefighter for the Twin Towers. His name is Pete. He said Pete Davidson, yeah. He said when he was a kid, as compensation for his dad dying, the government gave them a certain amount of money and his mom built a pool in their backyard. And other kids would literally say things like, dang, I wish my dad died so I could get a pool in my backyard. Because they wanted a pool so bad. They were so privileged with having a father or a mother in their house that they witched them away because they wanted the smaller thing. That's what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing this lady going, I had parents that raised me in a way that made it so I didn't break the law of chastity, I didn't do drugs, I didn't drink, and I got married to a man that was willing to marry me and provide for me at the age of 20, and now I wish I had that. I wish my dad died so I could have a pool in my backyard. That's what it sounds like to me. That's what she sounds like.
Yeah. So this is what I mean when I say toxic regret culture, because there are a lot of women out there that are mothers, currently mothers, that are posting on social media for everybody to see. I hope their children never see this, but I think eventually at some point they will. And they're going to see their mom saying I kind of don't want to have kids and I never did, but I just was pressured into it by my church. I didn't make those decisions. And so what is it doing? It's sending messages to their children, first and foremost, that mommy doesn't care about you that much. But it also sends a message to the youth that may be seeing stuff like that, saying oh, maybe I should avoid having children. And then we look at the declines in birth rates. And we're still scratching our heads over here man, what is going on? Why are Americans not having kids as much? It's well, we got so many of these influencers that are just spewing toxic regret. It's so hard. I hate it. But let's take it to the stats. Is it really that big a percentage? Because if you were to follow someone like a Julie Hanks or like a therapist, if you're hey, I want to stay on top of my mental health, let me follow a therapist. A lot of them are going to start spewing stuff oh man, you were forced into this and your parents actually don't love you that much. They were forced by their religion to have you. So now let's check out some stats. Let's take it to the numbers because people talk, but numbers scream.
Oh,
all right.
That's a
this
bar,
article.
Dude. You're a nerd.
This article is from Time Magazine.
Hey, Hayden, can I just say something
live.
real quick?
Jeff,
yes,
go for it.
I apologize because I was late because I was on the phone with Ashley B Therapy, and she wanted me to pass on the message to you that this rampant misogyny it's not going to cut it, and she wants Aranza to stop propping up the patriarchy. So don't shoot me. I'm just the messenger. I'm just the messenger here. So
right. Yeah,
I had to get on to deliver that message.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I got to check my privilege. And maybe I'll tell Ashley in my next session, hey, that was uncool. What you did with Jeff. Oh, just text
I need a
me
10-slide carousel on why Coke lines on the back of the bathroom are fulfilling and a needed milestone in everyone's life.
Pixar, it didn't happen. I don't know.
Right, yeah. I want you passed out in a Walmart bathroom. Yeah. Yeah. All right,
oh
so
my
this
gosh.
Is the
I love
parents
you,
who
Jeff.
regret having children. Right here, it goes into this big article. Right around here, it actually goes into the studies. It says right up here, it is unsurprisingly a challenge to get solid data on the number of parents who regret having children. In 1975, the popular advice columnist Ann Landers asked her readers if given the chance to do it all over again, they'd have children. 70% said they wouldn't. So I think this is probably the Julie Hanks generation Now, get this. It said, though, came from a group of self-selecting respondents. The hurt, angry, and disenchanted are more inclined to write back than contented people, as Landers observed in a follow-up 1976 column. But in 2013, a Gallup poll asked Americans 45 and older how many kids they'd have if they could go back in time. 7% of the respondents with children said 0. And in 2023, a study estimated that up to 5 to 14% of parents in so-called developed countries, including the United States, regret their decision to have children. So did you see that number? 5 to 14%. A very small minority of actual parents. Just a teeny tiny little
minority.
Incredibly loud. And it doesn't say whether or not these parents are currently divorced, or where they're at, or how many of them went to a therapist's office and was encouraged to get a divorce. So I'm looking at that. I'm like, okay, so the studies actually say that this is for the youth out there, for the youth and the kids. It's like, hey, most parents, a whopping majority of parents, we're talking up to 95% of parents love their children and support having children and wish they had more children. So I love seeing stats like this. There are some other stats that I want to get to as well.
You saying that 1975 is Julie's generation is a crazy poll, Hayden. Was that a joke? 1975? How old is Julie Hanks?
She's got to be
she's
that's accurate.
60s.
No, that's
60s.
yeah.
My parents, my parents were
60?
born in the 60s. No,
yeah, she's got to be.
Your age is showing a little bit, Roy. Look at that.
I didn't know Julie was 60, bro. What in the world?
Yeah.
She's doing great. I mean, well,
she's another singer too. She's spent I think her entire adult life singing. I imagine it's a little bit harder post-menopause now, but I think she still tries to do it. Hey, what
did you say? Did you say what phase of life that those people were in? Because I can think if they're in like toddler phase or infant phase and the baby's not sleeping, maybe they're saying at that moment, yeah, I don't know that I would do having kids right now, because I'm not sleeping,
Yeah, you need to define regret. Like I have a 9-month-old right now that just learned that he can stand up. And I would never say I regret having him, but I understand it's not like it's a cakewalk. I'm not over here like, this is the easiest thing I've ever done. So it depends on what you define by regret,
Yeah. Well, and I did a little bit of a deep dive into these TikToks and things today. And I think the one thing I noticed is that people these women aren't complaining about motherhood necessarily. They're complaining about the circumstances that lead them to hate motherhood, whether it's because they're a single mother or they have to work or their child has special needs. It's not the act of being a mother or having children that they hate. It is the circumstances that make that harder for them. And that's sad, and that's a real thing that we really need to focus and work on. But instead, we're on social media scaring future generations and hurting ourselves. It sucks.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it totally does. And just going back on those stats, so this is from the Institute of Family Studies. So they did a whole article here. The highlights are right there. First highlight, the vast majority of people want to have children, and more than a third wish they had more children than they currently have. Second highlight, most of us really want to have kids. And for those that do, an astonishing 88% agree that having children is one of the most important things I have done. So be sure to check out that article. Maybe I'll link it in the description, but it's fantastic. So for those
someone write a song.
Someone write a song. There, if you are tempted to believe that your best life is in the bathroom of a Waffle House with strangers and a bunch of illegal substances, I'm just gonna ask you to pause and just think about that for a second. The other thing that I want to dig a little bit into, so there's another, and this has been well documented and studied. Marital satisfaction often dips temporarily after having kids. It reminds me of that quote. There's a church, I think it was Hugh B. Brown, who said, when I got married, I often was told that I'd come to the end of my problems. And then I got married only to realize they were talking about the front end of my problems. And so it talks about here, marital satisfaction often dips temporarily after having kids, a well-documented pattern. but many studies show that parents report higher life meaning and purpose long-term compared to child-free adults, even if day-to-day happiness fluctuates. So
Amen.
I'm looking at this. It goes back to what Jeff was saying. Like, I think there may be a segment of women out there that are currently struggling. They're currently having a hard time. Maybe they're in the trenches. You know, the red mist is descending because they got kids that are screaming. It's 6 o'clock. There are snacks being thrown all over the house. You know, you got kids crying and screaming, and mom's just like trying to keep it all together. They all want her. And then the idiot husband walks in and he's like, oh, I need to lay down because I had a rough day at work. And that just, it's all these women are just taken to the internet. They're like, I wish I was in a bathroom right now in a Waffle House.
Snorting
Why
cocaine.
did I have these children? So, but here's the deal. We don't talk a whole lot about how hard it is to have kids. We don't talk a whole lot about like that front half of life. And so I think there are a lot of people out there that maybe assume that getting married and having kids is an easy thing. And that if you are struggling with it, it means that you are weird or you're doing it the wrong way or that you are not meant to have children. And I think that's probably one of the most pernicious lies the adversary has. Because everyone's going to struggle with kids. Everyone's going to struggle with marriage. You're getting used to living with another person. It takes time. It takes effort. And so I look at that and I'm like, I think, again, I see the language of these therapists seeping through in these songs where they are basically telling women like, hey, if you are uncomfortable or sad or upset, something is wrong. And you can talk to me and I will tell you for a price, a measly little price, you know, monthly thing, what the solution is. And the solution more times than not is, at least on social media, leave the church. The church is the big boogeyman. You are the victim. And then these women just start spewing toxic regrets. So that is the cycle there where they start believing, they start drinking that Kool-Aid that these divorce therapists, these crazy therapists are giving them like, hey, it's the husband is your problem. The church is your problem. You are the victim. You did everything right. They are the problem. And then these women are like, oh, my word. I regret everything that I've done because I've been had. And then they start spewing that online. Other women pick up on that. And then it's just been this kind of social illness, like a social contagion. Almost is what we've been seeing.
Hey, Hayden,
like
you do have,
go ahead, Roy.
You do have some super chats. I don't know if you want to get to those.
Let's get to them. Yeah, let's get to those. Yeah, this is a good point.
Can I say something real quick?
Oh, go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah.
I have a Ashley B therapy just texted me. So this is what she said.
All right.
Okay.
Hey.
She said, I don't know who needs to hear this, but if religion led you away from promiscuity, drug use, and jail time, consider yourself more free, not less. Oh, wait, that's not Ashley B. That's Maddie Packer coming in hot.
Yeah.
Oh,
Get it, Maddie.
Get him,
Maddie.
Maddie.
Look at that. Boom. The old pop bam. Yeah. She is
That's
Ashley
hilarious.
B's therapist. She is her bane.
Yeah,
and her
yeah.
muse.
Ashley B checks under her bed for Maddie Packer at night.
I think
right.
Ashley B has blocked Maddie. I think Maddie's blocked by all of those girls.
Maddie Packer is the bulldog of Burley, Idaho. Like, she just goes right after these ladies. And that's why Instagram loves her. Yeah. She's fantastic. All right, let's get to those super chats.
Gambalicious9 says he said, to give Roy crushed up Smarties. So that's my cocaine in the
keep
bathroom.
him away from the snow. Yeah, get him the Smarties.
So Latter-day Scooby commented this. It was in response to her video being like, if Jesus Christ saw this, what would he say? And he said Jesus would say, go and sin no more.
Yep.
What?
Which is, I don't.
But that doesn't fall in line with the teddy bear Jesus, right?
Yeah,
that's the other thing.
Jesus would
my
never
guy,
say that.
Greg Madsen, he would say that.
That's right. Yeah, they all have the same Jesus that they have in their mind. This is the cultural Jesus. This is the Relief Society Jesus. This is the nice guy spirit voice Jesus who just went around. And this is the Jesus that you see in all the Bible videos that the church puts out. Like, even when he was clearing the temple, you just saw him like gently tapping some of these booths, and people were quietly running away in a very clean and organized fashion. And he was just like, hey, don't make my father's house a den of thieves. And that's why I really like The Chosen, because it kind of brings it a little bit more into reality. I know they took some liberties on that, but I'm okay with those liberties because that's the actual Jesus that we worship, you know, where I'm sure he had a little bit of Cholula in his blood that day, where he was just like, all right, what's going on with you people? Hey, you know, and he was bringing down the hurt with some of these guys. So absolutely agree with that.
We have one more. The Sure Foundation said, I don't get it. What is stopping her at this point? And what's holding her back?
That's Maddie Packer.
Yeah. Maddie's in the chat, bro. I don't think she's actually in the chat still, but Maddie is like, what's stopping her from doing the things that she wants? Like, what is stopping her? And I don't know what's stopping her.
Hopefully her kids. Hopefully.
If she has kids.
Oh, I'm a mother.
Hopefully
I can't, you know.
relationship she has with her husband, maybe at the very least. Like the person that she married, you know. She said she got married young, but hopefully she's like, hey, before I go and do these things, I'm going to think about my husband for a couple of, maybe 1 second, you know. But boy, that is wild. But there are a lot of people out there that do say the church prevented me. Like the church is a straitjacket, and I was prevented. I did not have the freedom to pursue these base pleasures, this hedonistic lifestyle. Yeah.
But Hayden, maybe we should run with that. Maybe we should tell people, guys, look at. If you join the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, apparently it is promised that your kids will never break the law of chastity, will never do drugs, will never drink. Apparently, it's promised. It's a guaranteed the church will stop all of that from happening forever, which we all know is not true. But
look at that.
But apparently that's what it is.
Apparently, yeah. So let's talk about the effect that messaging like this has on children and youth. So there's something called emotional. So I don't know if you guys see this. There's a great guy out there. His name is like Stephen He, and he does great
emotional damage.
Emotional damage. Yeah, fantastic. He often impersonates his Chinese upbringing, right? He's got Chinese parents and stuff like that. It's fantastic. So we're talking about not emotional damage. Emotional damage. We're talking emotional burden and guilt. When children sense a parent's regret or resentment, even subtly, through I love you, but language, they often internalize it as I am the reason my parent is unhappy or missed out on life. This creates chronic guilt, anxiety, and a sense that they are a burden. Let's talk about the mental health risks of this. Children of parents with high regret or resentment show higher rates of internalizing problems, anxiety, depression, low self-worth, and externalizing behaviors. Long-term effects include trust issues, difficulty forming healthy relationships, and repeating unhealthy patterns. Let's talk about the youth that might be seeing this. Like, so maybe you got some youth out there, they're into music, you know, and into Christian rock. This is another reason why I'm not very big into Christian rock, you know. I've always kind of I file it away in the kids bop section in my mind, you know. But maybe I can be converted. Maybe I just have been hanging around the wrong artists or something like that. So if kids see this, youth see a song like this, viral content like this teaches youth, especially young women, that choosing family young equals missing out on real life. So they're saying like, this is a huge mistake. That's the whole message that they're receiving. Just a big red flag. This plants fear of commitment and distorts the gospel message that sacrifice plus covenants equals joy and fulfillment. So a lot of damage that's being done. It reminds me of a quote. There's a quote in the Bible: "No man taketh my life from me, but I lay it down of myself." That was from no one else other than Jesus Christ, from John 10:18. So it shows you that sacrifice is voluntary. It's not anyone forcing you to do these things. It's completely voluntary. And if you start to believe that somebody or some institution forced you into it, then that's where regret can start creeping in there. That's when you start singing songs about, oh, I wish I was in the bathroom right now doing drugs with strangers, blah, 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 blah. Because then your children, your spouse, even crying out loud, your spouse might hear that and say like, oh man, I wish you would have pulled me aside in private before you just blast me on Instagram for everyone to see. But love to get your thoughts on all this. What are your thoughts? Toxic regret culture. Anything I miss?
I don't know. I feel like Aranza has the best view of all of this because of her apparently roaring 20s that she went through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I really honestly like, and it's so bad because like I don't want to like, I don't know, blah, 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 blah. But I just feel like there are so many variables and so many different reasons to struggle and to be sad and to pick the vain route and the me and the selfish route and to be like, no, but that's okay. Like, I really feel like that's the kind of messaging our youth are receiving. And so how can we put service and sacrifice and things like that on a pedestal to aspire to? How can we retrain this Western culture to embrace the hard things and the coming of age story and these milestones, right? And the refiner's fire, because we're so used to getting everything handed to us on a silver platter. I mean, I feel like as the generations get younger and younger, you know, with parents doing everything for their children, and then all of a sudden you're rocketed into this world and you don't know how to, you know, call the doctor and make an appointment. So I don't know. I'm waxing far too long and going off on a tangent, but just really social media. And that's why my kids will not have social media for as long as I can help it.
That is one of the big takeaways here. So in the age of home-centered church, in the age of 2026, keep your kids off social media. I would say just kind of, it's like the ring from Lord of the Rings. Destroy it! Cast it into the fire! Get rid of it! Like, man, there are so many slippery slopes that you can start going down, and so many dark rabbit holes you can start going down in social media, and it can just rip out that foundation right from under you and make you believe that your life would be better in a Waffle House gas station bathroom for some reason. Speaking of like better influences, there's a great book out there that all of this reminds me of, The Brothers Karamazov by Dostoevsky. It showcases three different brothers. It showcases an atheist, a hedonist, and it showcases a Christian, Alyosha. And the hedonist, Mitya, his oldest brother, this guy, his life is just in constant chaos. Like, he just can't keep his feet underneath him. People are always accusing him of things that he did or didn't do, and he's just like, he can't keep track of it all, and he doesn't remember any of it because he's getting blackout drunk all the time. And his life is just a constant whirlwind of chaos, fear, guilt, gambling, booze, and the riotous life. And it's just a miserable time. So it contrasts that against Alyosha, who just lives the virtues. He goes out, he helps everybody, and the best person that he can, and he tries to be like Jesus Christ, and he ends up being a boon to his community, and everyone kind of rallies behind him and supports him because they see like, hey, he's a great guy. He's helping us out. He's a stable guy, and it works out really well for Alyosha. And then Ivan is just another. That's a topic for another day. But that's a great book. If you're out there, oh yeah, go ahead.
I remembered what I was going to say though. I think there's a fundamental misunderstanding about like agency. And a lot of people will say, oh, well, the church says, you know, your agency is a gift from God and it's so important. So yes, you're right. But we are obligated to use our moral agency and to make choices based off of, you know, aligning ourselves with gospel teachings and trying to be like Jesus. But the good thing about the gift of free agency is that when we do make these wrong choices, we have a savior. We have Jesus Christ. And that's the whole point. That's what free agency is for, to learn and to grow. It's not to just get to do whatever you want willy-nilly. And that's the misunderstanding right there.
Right. It's just like that meme, you know, it showed that kid who's just like, he got caught by the police and they're like, why did you do it? Why did you do it? The kid just looks at the camera. He's like, I want to do hood rat stuff with my friends.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just like, being bad is cool. It's like, all right, can we get past that? Yeah. But aside from that, there's another takeaway. If you are in that terrible, awful phase of parenting where you're in the trenches. It's hard. Kids are young, the nights are long, and love is running out. I would say there's a great practice that I actually learned from a therapist, an actual therapist, not one of these e-therapists that you see. Came to the Memento Mori retreat that we held, and he said, one of the things you can do if you're struggling and you find yourself repeatedly struggling throughout the day is just do a simple tactic called a check-in, where before you enter the door or before you're about to start dinner or before you're about to wrangle your kids, you just kind of mentally pause, take a minute and just say, where am I at right now? And then you name it so you can tame it. So you just kind of figure out what your feelings are. You're figuring out like what you've had to deal with today, how that's impacted you, and where you're going throughout the rest of the day and how you want to show up. You go through that, you kind of do a couple deep breaths, and then you go for it, and just doing that practice alone can reduce stress. It reduces anxiety. It can help you kind of lock in and get to that point where you're saying, I think we should have more kids because this is great. This is awesome. And that day comes. It takes a while, but it comes. I can tell you that. Like I'm at the point with 5 kids. My wife, after we had our youngest, she was in the hospital. She was just like, when are we having our next? And I was like, you never consider the impact it's going to have on my body. Oh, and so I'm just kidding. But she's ready for it. She loves it. We're at an age where like I'm able to take the older kids. We're doing so much fun stuff. Like I'm able to take them to theme parks. I'm taking them camping. We're doing really fun things, and they're able to help out with the young ones, which is so cool. So don't worry, youth, children out there, it gets better. Young families, young married couples, it definitely gets better. Parents actually love their kids, but it is hard during those first years. So before we wrap up, any final thoughts from you guys? We'll start with Jeff, we'll go to Roy, and then Aranza.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to echo what you said when you said, basically, greater love hath no man than this, that a man laid down his life. And I think that is what's required for our parents is the realization that you're laying down your life. That is the greatest love. You are laying down, you're sacrificing your pursuits for your children. I was just having a conversation with my wife today about just kids in general and how some parents don't want to give up, selfishly don't want to give up in order to see their kids succeed or do, be good in whatever, school, get to school on time, whatever it is. Parents, they don't want to give up. And I'm not saying you have to completely lose yourself in the process, but there is a time for sacrifice. And that is the greatest love. And I think that is demonstrated by Heavenly Father. And so that's what he wants us to show us, that this giving of ourselves to our children will perpetuate and it will perpetuate. It'll be good for society. And this is the greatest love that we can give.
I love that. Yeah. It reminds me of Jordan Peterson. Sacrifice. You got to pick your dang sacrifice because you're sacrificial whether you want to be or not. And that's something to think about. So the whole point that he makes is that you can sacrifice, you can choose a sacrifice, or you can allow the sacrifice to choose you. And so she's saying, I want the sacrifice to choose me. I don't want the stability. I don't want the kids. I don't want the husband. I don't want this relationship. I want to go out there and live wild and allow the sacrifice to come choose me versus choosing the sacrifice of a husband and children that will bring me fulfillment and meaning in my life. I love that. Roy, let's get your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I just agree with everything, basically. I don't have a...
Look at that.
Yeah, I'm not.
We have a group project that you can put our names on if you want.
Dude,
what a joker!
I'm the new dad in the circle. That I'm like, I have the 9-month-old right now that it's making it hard to sleep and hard to do work. And there's hobbies that I have that I can't do anymore. Books that I want to read that I can't read right now because of the kid. And I have to sacrifice little things. But I remember growing up in high school, I went to school in Arizona. I played football, and we'd have full practices in 100-degree weather, full pads, and it's kids. It was like for a while, every year one kid in Arizona would die of heat exhaustion. like at football practices. Like that was like the thing. So we always, stay hydrated, whatever. But we had this one kid on our team that would just always be like, "Ain't it a great day to play football?" And he would get pumped to be out there. And I'd be like, that guy's a psychopath. But
yeah,
he always performed. Like when game time came, that guy performed, and he didn't actually love, like, I remember after practices him being like, that practice sucked. And I was like, dude, the whole time you're talking about how awesome it was. And he knew as a teenager that if you decided to be happy playing in 100-degree weather with full pads on, then when you have a game on Friday night and it's 95 degrees, you can be happy without having to make a decision. It works. And that stuck with me. That stuck with me, and it sticks with me as a father. It's like, right now I have a 9-month-old, and I'm at the very beginning because we want to have more kids. So for the next 6 to 10 years, I'm going to be having little kids around the house, and I'm going to have to give up things. But if I can be happy for those 6 to 10 years, the next 40 years after that are going to be good years. And maybe that's too far in the future for some people.
There'll be sunshine and lollipops, yeah.
Well, I just don't. I mean, you're going to be able to be trained to be happy, and that's a good thing to do, regardless of what people say. And I don't. If people think like, I don't want to have to be a parent where I have to train myself to be happy, I would just tell you, like, dude, you grow up, be an adult. Like, it's time for you to learn how to be happy and make that a habit. And if you can't make that a habit, you have to figure it out, because you're either going to be happy or you're going to be sad, and it's really up to you. Like, it's not up to the church. It's not up to anything else. It's up to you and your relationship with the Savior. So that's
right.
I'll stop.
So if you can't change your circumstances, change your attitude. I love that.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, Aranza, what are your thoughts?
Well, I feel like especially when you're talking to the youth, if a gospel point of view isn't enough to combat this kind of like toxic narrative, then just show them the science. Trust the science, right? We've got studies coming out, like Hayden just showed us on the Family Institute studies, the Wheatley Institute.
Right.
Everybody is saying that the regret of not having children is strong, and I can tell you personal examples of women in my life who regret not having children. So, I mean, there's just different ways to approach it, but I know for me, nothing has brought me closer to God than motherhood. I mean, that was how I found God again, was through my children's eyes. And what was I going to say? My brain cursed that. That's the child brain, by the way. That's the downside.
Yeah.
As you start to
I'm familiar with that. Yeah.
all the time.
You were going to say that you're oppressed because you have children? Is that what you were going to say, that you're oppressed for the...
Yeah, no, it's... It was along those lines, though. It was like... Oh, yes. People are saying that they're losing themselves. They're drowning in motherhood. They're forgetting who they are. And I just have to say that motherhood and that struggle really helped me to find myself and to discover who I was and who I want to become. That lit a fire in me more than anything else and showed me who I truly was and what I'm truly capable of. So, like Roy said, it's your attitude, it's your perspective. And we got to really the only thing we can do is just set the example and show them why the grass is greener on our side.
Totally, yeah. It's like that old saying, adversity introduces a man to himself. It's like if you take on that sacrifice, you bring on that adversity, you get to actually discover who you are, and then you get to live in a much more fulfilled and meaning way versus, just like pursuing that hedonistic lifestyle, living in the shallows and kind of drowning in those shallows. It's awful because you're going to realize that everyone is like a Walmart shopping cart. We're all messed up in a very special way, right? And no one's going to have the deep answers except yourself. And you can only unlock those if you give yourself a challenge. So that's how you fix that shopping cart wheel that's always going left, Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Okay, so I think my takeaways here is let's stop romanticizing toxic regret over here. Let's stop putting this on a pedestal and saying, yeah, this is great, because the youth are watching, children are watching, and hopefully your children, future children, the children of women like these are not going to see this, because that's only going to cause them grief. And so let's promote motherhood, let's promote fatherhood, and let's maybe sin no more. How about not my words? Okay, those aren't my words. Hey, look at that. Anyway, so definitely check out with those therapist check-ins. Mental check-ins. If you're having a hard time, remember to consider the path of your feet and where that's going to lead you. And I think those are my main takeaways in the age of home-centered church. So until next time, we've got with us Jeff Borders, the author of the Antichrist Playbook. And do you want to tell us what you got going on right now?
Working on the next book, which is Shaking Hell's Foundation. So we don't have a release date yet, but that is Captain Moroni's Guide to Spiritual Discipleship, or to Dedicated Discipleship for you.
I like that.
Yeah.
Boom. And Roy, where can people find you?
The Iron Rodcast. Look us up on Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube.
There it is. There it is. And Aranza, what about you?
You can find me at Quick Media or at Aranza Condi. Good luck spelling that. Write it down now so you don't forget.
That's right. And if you are struggling right now, if you're a dad listening to this and you're like, man, I don't have any friends, I don't know what to do with my life, check out dadsneedfriends.com. Join us. We share memes. We talk family, finance, marriage. We talk it all. So that's dadsneedfriends.com, dadsneedfriends.com. And until next time, my name is Hayden Holm, and this is Salty Saints. We'll see ya.